So this is basically about an introduction to OData service and what is OData service, how this works, and what is its architecture, etc. So OData is a standardized protocol for creating and consuming data APIs. APIs is again a browser-based like application programming interfaces that we can use in any UI. It's not just the UI5. You can also use these APIs in other programming language. OData always builds using the core protocol, which is HTTP, and commonly accepted methodologies like REST APIs. The result is a uniform way to expose a full-featured data APIs. Okay, so why OData service, especially for our purpose? The number of clients accessing the data have varied, like smartphones, web, desktop, etc. So has the technologies, the client are built in. So we need a protocol which would send the data on standard formats such as XML or JSON. So most web services serve one purpose, exposing data to the consumers. Hence, this protocol becomes more relevant, especially when you are creating a web service as just provided. So what are other services apart from this? You have other SOAP services and all that, right? REST APIs are SOAP services. So in the past, we used to use the SOAP services, but I mean, we kind of restricted that. It's not that user friendly. So REST APIs provide so many additional features, and it can be dynamically modified with so many operations, right? But the SOAP actually provides a little bit operations like a request, response, and all that. So those are few options that are available. So what is NetWeaver Gateway? NetWeaver Gateway is used to set up a connection between SAP Business Suite and the target client platforms and framework. So it offers development and generation tool for creating OData service to different client development tools. And NetWeaver Gateway provides an easier way to consumption on business logic and content for backend system. It also reduces the complexity to access SAP data and provides easy interfaces to decrease the development time. So this is basically like a middleware, where like this is nothing but basically add-on on your SAP ECC system. Okay, ECC system is where you do all the ABAP programming, right? So this NetWeaver Gateway was introduced a couple of years ago to enable you to create some service layer basically. In the past, we also used to create services directly from RFCs by publishing them into a enterprise services like going to SOA manager and configuring them. That's all like very complicated framework. Of course, even today, those are being used in some projects, but this OData service gives you additional flexibilities and features, right? You don't need to go to SOA manager to maintain a lot of additional properties. So that's why this NetWeaver Gateway add-on helps you to create a project and bind all the business logic. This OData service classes or the services that you are using, they act as a wrapper function around your this core business logic. Core business logic, where do you store? It can be in RFCs or business objects or anything else. So key features are non-disruptive. Any SAP business suite can be used. AS2 development, simple APIs, and does not require any tool knowledge basically. Allows connectivity to SAP applications using any programming language or model without the need for SAP knowledge by leveraging REST services and OData Atom protocols. It provides plugin for well-known IDEs such as Eclipse, Visual Studio, and Xcode. So these OData services can be used pretty much from any of these IDEs: Eclipse, Visual Studio, Xcode, and of course Web IDE. And is easy to develop. You don't need to know a lot of coding unless you want to customize all these OData services. So I'll show you the difference, how you can easily generate the OData service versus how you can create a custom OData service. Of course, this requires some prior ABAP knowledge. So hopefully you all know some ABAP before. So this is how you can create a service from the structure. Create a structure in the data dictionary basically, or pick any um, data structure that is available in the backend system with the required input and output fields. As none of the generated fields has both input and output fields, one structure using the structure template as a some zip there that zip fields. Okay, what it's what it's saying is basically create a structure, and this structure we can use in the front end. And now create this option. Out of creating the import options, you have so many options, right? One from data model, from file. The second one is DDIC, and the third one is RFC BUR interface. So we are going to choose the second option here. And now in the service builder, create a new project for our new OData service and import DDIC that is created. Field zip has to be defined as a key field. So what is zip defined here? You can see the zip code. Okay, of course you can't see it in the screen. Maybe it's in the, okay, you see it here, right? Zip at the bottom of this one. That's strange. Basically you can type, make this one of these field as a key field. In the usage column, you can basically define this. When you are defining the structure, you don't have to explicitly maintain any key fields, right? But if you are creating a table, you need at least one key field. Now save the project and the system generates empty classes for the implementation. So these are some empty classes that you can generate. DPC classes and extension MPC classes. So what is the difference between DPC and MPCs? DPC classes are data provider extension classes. This is where you actually write all the coding like a read function, update or delete functions. MPC classes are model data provider. Basically, they are like a skeleton structure for you. Models are like metadata. For generating the metadata, MPC classes help. Okay. So this is where you see the import option. The PPT that was created was bit old, so you don't have this option. So DDIC structure, this is where you can actually keep some. So here you can select some structure type. So you see so many views, right? You can directly see how it looks like. This is basically a view, CDS view. See all the fields here, right? Basically, they made all of these fields as a mandatory, but you don't have to explicitly do that. Have so many key fields. So this is the view that we are going to use for quick referencing. So out of these, you don't have to uh, make everything. You can make just one of these fields. In this window, you are basically selecting. After giving the structure, this is where you select your key field. It adopts the name and is a key field. This is the key field. Then finish. And remember, some of these names that you see here, descriptions, these are adopted from the data structure. You can of course change the names and all that you want to see in the front end. And here is where you maintain one key field. We'll make partner as a one key field. That's correct. Yeah. Okay, finish. And then you see this entities. See, has been checked with some warning. Warnings are okay. Don't worry about it. And you see the entity, how it looks like. If you see the properties, you can also see them. Okay. The namings, you can change it here. For now, I'm leaving it as is, but it doesn't matter. You can change the names here. And which one is key? Matter is a key here. It's selected as a key. So once this is done, then what you do is click on this and generate. You got this step, right? Once you click on the model generation, it will give you this window where it is actually giving you the MPC and DPC class adoption name. Now, when you open this, you see the service implementation. You see all these things, and the runtime classes were also created. So we got the successful creation of all these classes. Now let's go to the project. Okay, you got these ones, right? DPC classes, MPC classes, we generated the classes. Now introduction to REST. Once this is done, then we'll talk about how to configure the service and all in the next step. Representational state transfer, that is a full name of REST, is an architectural style that defines a set of constraints to be used for creating web services. REST API is a way of accessing web services in a simple and flexible way without having any processing. So basically with the URL, you can directly perform a lot of functions, right? That's why it's very easy to access and consume your API. REST technology is generally preferred to the more robust SOAP, which is Simple Object Access Protocol technology, because REST uses less bandwidth, simple and flexible, make it more suitable for internet usage. Like I mentioned, SOAP was another web service protocol that used to be used in the past. Even in some industries such as banking industry, we still see the adoption of the SOAP UI, SOAP web services, because they have some secure protocols, and it is more secure basically for that. It's used to fetch or give some information from web service. So it can be communicated either ways, used or basically like you can modify, you can read and all that, right? Done via REST API uses only HTTP requests. So we do not use any other protocol. And this is actually the architectural properties. What are these? Basically, the performance wise, it's very good, and scalability, you can basically add more entity structures to the same service and all that. And it's very simple to understand from browser perspective and easily modifiable. Modifiable. Of course, if even if some users are using it in the front end, you can still modify your REST API in the backend. And it's very reliable because you don't see what is going on, or it doesn't interfere or give any errors like anything, like it doesn't show any break, like HTTP not found and all that things, right? When you see, when you have any corrupted web pages, JavaScript pages, sometimes you see the web pages crashing and you don't see anything. So those kind of crashing things doesn't happen with REST APIs. And it's clearly visible. Basically, what it means is you can see all the entity sets within the one REST API, and you can see what all functions you can do with that. And portability, you can pretty much use it with any type of devices, and you can call from any IDE. It's quite flexible. And of course, introduction to the OData formats. For us, within the projects, we mainly use in two simple formats. One is JSON, which is a simple, lightweight format with good support in many tools. But sometimes you would rather get XML. XML is the default one, right? So you don't need to explicitly filter or format in any specific shape or format if you want to use XML. And XML is also a very lightweight component. You get a whole platform with capabilities useful for validations, XML schema, query, XPath, XQuery, and all that, and transformations, XSLT, and so on. Or You simply have component that accepts only XML and not JSON. So there are some conditions when you cannot, some of these operations or some um, applications does not accept JSON. So in that case, we use XML by default. For example, in within the projects, you have seen couple of metadata files, right? Metadata.xml. So that's basically generated once you import a OData service into the project. And the introduction to OData formats. Fortunately, OData services aren't limited to JSON. They can return XML as well. So like we discussed, it can be in two formats, and simply add HTTP header accept with the value atom application atom XML. These are all some parameters that you will use when you are using the tools like Firefox, REST APIs and all that. So I'll show you how to test these services using Firefox or anything. You start getting the same data in XML format also. And this is how it communicates basically. All the HTTP methods, you have these many methods. Get, post, put, delete. These are main HTTP methods that you can use to communicate between clients and between the server. Any questions so far? Is that good enough or anything you feel not connected? Okay, JSON. What does JSON starts? JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And here you have seen the formats, right? Within the flower braces, you kind of define all the fields and entity names and etc. JSON is a lightweight and self-describing and is an open standard data interchange format. And JSON originated from JavaScript actually. And JSON is easy to read and write because you see the names and all that easily and its values against it, right? You don't have to bother about all the other tags, data types and all that. And JSON is language independent, of course. It can be pretty much used in other languages also, like Xcode and all. JSON supports data structures such as arrays and objects as well. So you can define all those objects also, object types within JSON. Features of JSON, again same, simplicity, openness, self-describing, internationalization, basically it means a conversion into different languages. Extensibility, you can extend it, and interoperability, simplicity. What is XML format? XML is again a simple and powerful tool in this era of data flow between multiple applications. So XML is a self-descriptive markup language designed as per the W3C, World Wide Web Consortium recommendations, and it was designed to store and transport data via various web services, connecting different applications and promoting data exchange. So JSON sometimes, if you know the format or if you want to make it simple, you use it. But XML is the standard language format that you can use in other languages as well, like Java coding or any other .NET coding and all. And these are the components of structures of OData services. You have entity, entity type, and entity set. So what is entity and entity set difference? Basically, this is what people get confused, but try to differentiate this one. An entity is potentially empty resource that has either zero content elements or one content element. You see this entity set here, and this is the entity basically. So when you go to this entity, you have either one element or many elements, right? So this is entity basically. And entity set is represents a potentially empty resource of entries. So these are all basically for us to understand entity set comes with the operations. all the CRUD operations. Create, update, delete, read and query, all this delete function. Understood the difference, right? And remember, for each entity type that you create and generate, you'll get at least one entity set related to it. What is entity type? An entity type describes a collection and has a name. In many cases, the names of the collection and the entity type are equal or related by same convention. So if you see that entity types here, it can have many names basically, right? This name and entity set name are similar, basically just the additional keyword. Entity types and entity sets, you can compare basically. Property. A property is a typed element that represents a primitive data type element, structured data and or linked to another resource. So basically the properties are here, right? These are properties. It can be any element, one element of type, any EDM string or some decimal value or anything, any particular data type identifier. And navigation property, basically, if you want to see like a sales order header items to line items, if you want to navigate, then that's where you create this navigation properties. So that if time permits, I'll show you that scenario also. Association. An association defines a relation between entity types. So if you have more than one entity, like a sales order header item, sales or other item details and all that, in that case, you want to establish a navigation. Once the header item is created, it should navigate to the line item level. So that type of association is created. Basically, the navigation properties are maintained within association. Association includes two association ends, which specify the entity types that are related and the cardinality rules for each end of the association. So basically, how the data records flow, like one header item can have multiple line items, or one line item can only go to one header item like that. Like that is a cardinality basically. One to n to one and all. And the service document is basically comprises of all list of sources, URLs that can be accessible. This is how the service URL looks like basically. Metadata is nothing but metadata, you can say. And the metadata is again, a document contains the metadata elements of all this. It actually gives the description of all the fields with their written data types and all that. Now, life cycle of OData service, basically activation of OData service and then maintaining the OData service, maintaining of models and services up to the cleanup of the metadata cache, and RESTful application use, HTTP requests to post data to create or update, read data and delete within the application. And REST is a lightweight alternate to mechanisms like RPC, remote procedure calls or web services. Yeah, the other thing was previously we used to use this RPC calls, right? Remote function calls, procedure calls. Those we used to create from any RFC functions that we have. RFCs can be converted to this RPC calls. They are nothing but again they will be registered in the SOA manager and we can use it as a web service. That used to be the case in the past. And what are these operations supported by OData? These are the operations. See, create, read, update, delete, and query. So the query is similar to read, but read is just a single record, remember. Query basically gives you all the items under a particular entity type. You understand the difference, right? Of course, the put can be like update can be put or a patch. And filters, again, OData operations can be used with filter. Why we use filter is sometimes some of these entity sets return huge data sets. It can have millions of records. For example, a big corporate company has some 1 million employee or 1 lakh employees. which is not easy to parse through, right? In that case, we use a filter basically to return all the employees that belong to particular country or particular state or within a particular region and etc. Right? So in that case, we use a filters. So filters are basically used to optimize your query options. The expression specified with filter is evaluated for each resource in the collection, and only items where the expression evaluates to true are included in the response. Here is an example. Within the products, if you want to find only a product that has a name equal to milk. So within the products, you can have many other items also, fruits or anything else, vegetables, etc. But if you want to see only something that is matching with the milk, you can also give that as a filter. And operations, select operation. Next, the select system query option allows the clients to specify or request a specific set of properties for each entity type and complex type. For example, rating and release date of our products. So select only rating and so you don't have to select all of these properties except that you just want to explicitly show only one or two properties. In that case, you just mention those properties here in the filter as a select. It is also possible to request all declared and dynamic structural properties using star. So this way you can also see all the properties, all other properties within the product. Order by. This is basically for sorting, right? So the order by system query option allows the clients to request resources in a particular order. For example, the numbering or for the alphabetical ordering, you can use this order. Here we in this get query that you see here, the products are ordered by release date based on the release date when and based on the rating description, they are ordered. Related entities may be ordered by specifying order by in which the expand clause is included. So you can include some expand clause if you want to basically order with additional categories. For example, here, return all categories and their products ordered according to the release date and in descending order. So you can use the expand. Expand is a sub entity within the categories. So categories is the main service and the main service entity, and within that you have products. And with the within the products, you want to order those products based on the release date and rating description, and that you can display for the categories. Top and skip. Top is basically system query option requires the number of items in the queried collection to be included. Like we discussed in the previous example, now list of employees or list of materials in a particular database are more, and you don't want all of them. So within the select query, if you want to display the top 10 elements or top 5 elements, you can specify those. And if you want to skip first 10 elements, those are like higher number of usages or higher, based on some criteria, you want to skip particular number of items. In that case, you can use the skip. So inline count is a URI with inline dollar inline count system query options. Specifies the response to include a count of the number of items. Collection of items identified by the resource path section of the URI, and the count must be calculated after applying the filter system query options present in URI. So the filter option should be used along with inline comment. It basically returns the number of counts. There are occasions like you don't want to just see all the items and then count them manually, right? If you just want to find out how many numbers are there, how many employees number of employees are there in the company, or how many materials are there in the database, etc. In that case, you just want to return the count, we can use these. And there is count again, another variable that you can use. The count system query option allows the customer or client to request a count of the matching resources included within the response. Resources or in the response. The count query returns option has a Boolean value, true or false. For example, this one, products count is equal to true. The count, returns the total number of products in the collection. Similarly, count of a related entities also can be done. For example, within categories, how many products are there? You can also find. For that, you have to use the expand code and expand. What we have been discussing expand so far. So this is explained here. Expand system query basically gives you an option to specify the related resources, like a header item followed by the line items, or the main service followed by the subcategories kind of thing, to be included in line with the retrieved resources. Each expand item is evaluated relative to the entity containing the navigation or stream property being expanded. So this is basically associated with navigation properties and associations that we are going to create. For example, one navigation from header item is going to many line items. In that case, the header item will be in the products place here, and the line item will be in the expand place. Expand a navigation property and an entity type. This is an example. And format. Format is again you have all seen. By default, all the formats are of these web services are shown in atom.xml or just XML format. And if you want to specifically display them in JSON, you can declare them with the dollar format is equal to JSON. For example, you have a table that want to display only 10 items, and then you add a scroll bar. Each time the scroll is like used, scroll bar is used or page down is used, you want to display next to top items, next to 10 items, next and all that. In that case, you can use the top to display only 10 items at a time. You don't have to return all the 100 or 1 million records at a time, right? Top 10, top 100 items kind of thing.
Okay. But then in the backend, there is no such concept where the system knows which is the
No,
top values, right?
no. These are all front-end API call filters, basically. So these are,
Correct.
that's what, I mean, the data is sometimes huge and it's uncontrollable. For example, I just tried to execute this particular data and see the Internet Explorer cannot display this field. The size of this field exceeds the download limit. This particular entity set I tried to download, but it has huge, it's basically all the sales orders in the backend system it's trying to display. So this type of issue are there. And if I try to include this top 10 or something, right? Yeah,
Because
results are viewable because it's not trying to return all the items, and within that items it's not trying to filter 10. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? When you are hitting with this top is equal to 10, you are basically saying that go to the backend system to this service, and within this entity set, only try to retrieve the top 10 items. So the moment it's trying to hit the backend, you're not trying to return all the queries, I mean all the records. It's triggering internally the read function, right? Within the
okay,
read, yeah, within the read, you are not trying to read everything and then filter only top 10. There is a difference, right? Read everything and then return only top 10. It's basically returning only top 10. So you're not even bothered about the 11th record here. That's why it's very quick. If you try to add one more zero, it will take little time. See, you see the performance difference, right? It's taking some milliseconds extra. Each time you increase one more zero, it takes little more time. It first reads the data and then it sorts in alphabetical order. Why we use sort is to perform other functions. Okay, so what entity you have used? Is it RFC or what is it? You haven't imported anything? Okay. Yeah, right click on it. Yeah, import. Yeah, so you can either use the data set or you can do like RFC. If you want some functionality to include, then you use the RFC. Yeah, let's try with the DDS first. We have seen the exercise with DDS, right? So let's do this. Yeah, give some name and pick one DDIC that you want. No, it can be anything. This is your own entity name. No, it can be custom also. It need not be master. It can be anything. Custom. It will ask you next in the next step. You don't have to mention it. This is only the search view. Yeah, select it and then go down. You have next. Okay, you don't have next. And here you have to select all. Select on the top and it will show. Yeah, it. And then in the next step.
Next.
What is your mandate field? Now you have the entity type is created and see the entity set is also created. So each time you create an entity type, its associated entity set will also be created. Now expand service implementation, you don't see anything right now. Okay, you do have entity set and expand, all these methods are created. So then you don't have any runtime artifacts. So select the data model on top. Yeah, or entity types, anything, and click on the generate icon on the top. Generate icon. From top, fourth, fifth type. Yeah, that icon. Generate runtime artifact. It will suggest you some names here. You can change the names, but it's advisable to keep the default.
Okay.
Okay. For practice purpose, we'll just leave it as is. You can change it in future services. Next time onwards, you can try experimenting something. Okay, include. Then it will ask you for package and all that. Here, yes, local object. Yes. Okay, so your runtime artifacts are now generated. You see the MPC and DPC. So now the project is in a one shape where you can actually access these MPC classes or DPC classes. Go to one of the DPC and MPC class and see what are there. You can directly click from the SCGW, right click on it and go to the above workbench. That way also you can navigate. So here you see all the top services, right? These are all like a system generated. IWBEP are there, right? BEP means business logic is included. So if you go down at the bottom of it, these methods you see at the bottom, right? From see service entity, create entity, delete entity. These are the methods that you can customize basically. If you double click on it, so right now it's not implemented. So this is default. But if you want to implement them, you have to redefine the method. Go one step back. Yeah, right click on. Okay, if you expand those or in the change mode, put change mode. Okay, so here on the bottom up menu, where you see parameter exception and source code. If you keep to the right, you have a implementation option. Select on one of them. No, not that one. Yeah, after that, just before the undo. Yeah, redefine method. That one. No, redefine. You saw that. Yeah, redefine that. Redefine method. Yeah, this is where you can create your own custom code. Basically, to create the entity type, you have to write the code relevant to it. let me give you some sample codes. Irrespective of what service you are implementing, we are basically trying to copy something. Uh, this is specific to sales order, I guess, right? No, it's a user info. It's a custom class that they are using. Of course, we need to have this C user info structure within the table. Table should be there. So you need to find something similar to this table. So basically, they created a custom table here, C user info, and from there they started to go to next steps and all that. But what fields or what structure you did take just now, you have to go with that table related thing. Was it structure or a table? It was a view, right? So coding part, if you go there and see the read operation, yeah, here see selecting select star from that is the user info table. So basically, you're getting all the records within that table. There should be some records. Yeah, check that, and you can use the same thing. Same, just replace that select query with the view name that you have. T001 something W. I think this one has some records. So yeah, use that select query and also to replace those column names with your view names. Yeah, from here you need the view names, field names, right? Go one step more back. Yeah, these field names you can use in your select query. Just replace that select query with this view name. Right. Remember, you are doing the create entity. Instead, implement the yeah. Leave it as is. Save this one. We'll come back to this one later. Save this and go back. Okay. And now similarly redefine the other method, get entity. That's the one, right? They are showing first. Get entity is the second call. First call is the user set. A query, it's a query, right? So get entity set implementation code was that. So get entity is the second one. Yeah. Okay. Go below, go below. No, this is for the query, second one, entity. This is fine. Stay here. I'm asking you to go to the code for get entity. The code is below that screen. Yeah, below that. Scroll down a little bit. You can implement one by one. That's why I wanted to start with the get entity first. It's a single read, right? Then we'll do the multiple reads. Yeah, here. This is a get entity one. See the difference here. You are just reading say select single. In the previous one, you were just selecting star, right? So that is the difference. Yeah, use this code and replace your view name and all that field names. Don't copy the first line. First and last line, don't copy. Double click again to get entity. Double click, it's already been, and replace those names, etc. This is little bit manual code that you have to take. See your view name, and based on that, you have to modify these field names. What is the key value within the table? Go to your view and select. That's why I asked you to keep the view name open, view table open. No. It's a view. It's a work area, right? It's a work area. It can't be table type. No, up to 10, that we'll do it in the select query one. This select single is only one record at a time. So obviously you have to give just one record here. Select query is a get entity set, right? That's where you can also give the top 10 or something. So go to the table view, not here, table view. Go to the table view. You have to change that key name also. Go to the table view. Yeah, table view that you open in another. Yeah, so here copy that key name. What is that? Works, right? Yeah, yes. Works keyword. Yeah, take that and replace that name. Read within the read line. You have to replace that name. Yeah, key with key name. name instead of name is equal to, no, name should be, I think, okay. Yeah, here field name is works. You can execute it, but what is the user value? You need a user value, right? Like a user ID or that field. So that is LV. So give that works. So to understand this, you have to click on the import parameter like a signature. Open the signature tab on the top. If you go to the more options there, signature will be there. Yeah. Show or hide the signature. Yeah, you see that on the top. What is it coming from? My input is a table or value pair. IT underscore key underscore tab is there, right? So that is being read as an input. Whatever you are selecting from the front end, that you are passing as a key value within the bracket or within the filter parameters, that value is already coming as an input value. And what is that value would be? Plant number, right? So in the single read function, you will be passing which particular plant you want to read. So that's why it should be WERKS. Yeah, within that single quotes also WERKS. You can now hide the signature. I just wanted you to understand that. That's why I want. Now you can change other things, parameters, use field names and all. View name followed by hyphen and then works. Yeah. No, it can't be that. Just a T001. Otherwise, just change it. When you want to take a table type, it's a duplicate, right? 21 and 23 are duplicate. 21 and 23, are they not duplicates? If you want a table to declare, then on the line 21, make it as LT, not a LS. If you want to keep 23 line, Control Z. Now you can, that 33 is changed. So from 36 onwards, you have to match the usernames, the field names that you see in the backend. One by one, you can include all these field names. Okay, this even the entity name you have to change that LS name. So say copy that same thing and repeat that other fields for other fields. But it's better to do it this way. An ER entity type basically adopts the open data type that is called data, right? So it's better to specify the entity name, like a field names manually. Understand that you can all again open the signature and see. Let's see if it works for the single entity. Yeah, you implemented, right? Activate and let's see for single entity first. Select all of these methods. Even the empty method that you one error found. What is that? Edit. You double click on that. Double click on that. Line to edit. Okay, you have to fix that. Okay, that's again. Let's see what it is. So with the key name, instead of works, with the key is there, right? After that, change that works to NAME name. It should fix that error. Read table IT key tab with key name is equal to works.